If you want male mentorship in the black community, you have to have a community that values that. You have to have a community that actually supports those endeavors. You can't want to say out your mouth that you actually want male leadership or mentorship of young black boys, and we don't have systems set in place to actually support it. And it has to be systems set in place that's supported by adult women and men, mothers and fathers. We have to make sure that we have like that we're working to set things in place that meets our best interests. Mentorship is something that's very important for young boys, because I often say that from the time a boy comes out of the womb and even before he gets put into the womb, there has to be preparation that's made for that young man. Um, the expectations that a young man will have when he reaches manhood, that the community expectations in him, he has to be raised up to actually understand and be able to meet those expectations. If he's not cultivated and raised up right, he will never be able to do it. He will never understand manhood. And the way of doing that is through fatherhood and mentorship. A lot of our young men grow up in the black community and there's not a lot of fathers in the home. But then also we have something where we say we want black fathers in the home. We say that we want black men in the community. But the black men that are in the community that's doing the work, it's not highlighted. It's looked at as something that you're supposed to do. It's not something that's supported financially, mentally, and all the other aspects, that words that we can use to actually support male mentorship, to actually making it where it's becoming a thing to actually bring change to the way that young boys think. Because like I always say, the reason why we had our nerds over nigger shirts, because what we attempted to do was change the way that they speak. If you change the way that they speak, you can change the way that they think. If you change the way that they think, you can change the outcomes. You can change the things that they actually produce. Because mentorship is teaching black boys to be raised into men to be producers. Their ability to produce based off the environment that they placed in. Unapologetically. Understanding how to produce. Teaching black boys to have trades and skills. That way that they can use their skills in order to produce a living for themselves. Mentorship of young black boys is very, very important. Because when you have a wayward boy, he's 100 times more destructive to any community than the woman. For a woman can only get pregnant once a year, but your boys can get 100 women pregnant in a year. When a boy gets upset with his testosterone levels, he can be very destructive to himself or anybody that comes in his path. If he's not raised right, and his path is not laid and directed right for him, where he understands what fatherhood is, what his progeny is, what legacy is. So before he's even put into his mother, he has already had to be thought of and prepared for. That's how important mentorship is. Before he is even put into the mother to grow into a human being and come out of a womb, his steps has to already be prepared for. There has to be preparation made before a young king comes through that womb into this world. So that way he comes into the world with his steps already ordered. The things is already prepared for him. And if these provisions are not set, you're looking at a disaster waiting to happen, or a lot of confusion. Because in the black community, because of lack of mentorship and fatherhood, the young black boys are trying to figure out manhood on the fly. And that's why 25 years ago in the prison cell, I wrote a saying where I said, fathers, never let your daughters be the collateral damage of a young man's growth and development. I'm going to say it again. I said, fathers, never let your daughters be the collateral damage of a young man's growth and development. Because a wayward young man growing up without mentorship will make a lot of mistakes along the way. And when he's telling his story, if he lives long enough, survives long enough to get to the other side, and he begins to grow up and understand legacy, he will leave a lot of destruction in his wake. And we want to prevent that now. We want to start raising up young boys from the time that they're small, yay big, of understanding mentorship, understanding love, protection, direction, and correction, leadership. We want to raise them into manhood. But in order to do that, mentorship in the black community has to become a thing. Has to become a thing. And it has to be something that's supported, uplifted, put out in front. Mentally, financially, it has to be there. Because our young boys desperately need our help. And if you look into the communities across the black communities across America, I wouldn't say black mothers have failed, because they didn't. But they desperately need the help of masculine energy. They desperately need the help of black men. Because at a certain point, when a young man gets a certain age, mom can't handle him no more. He needs to be under the guidance of masculine men to walk him into manhood. So what we have to do, we have to invest in mentorship and not just look for so-called rich people to do it, but everybody do it. You out there watching me, yeah, you looking at me right now, I'm talking to you. You have to invest in it. Your next door neighbor has to invest in it. The mailman has to invest in it. The firefighter, the school teacher, everybody has to invest in male mentorship of these young boys if you want the community to get back to some form of normalcy. It has to become a thing. Mentorship is very important for our boys. Because remember, if you teach young black boys to love his brother the same way he loves himself, remember, I want y'all to stay with me. I want y'all to listen to this last part. Most boys love their mothers and their sisters, and they'll die for them. They'll kill for them, their mothers and their sisters. But if you love your brother and your fellow black man the way you love yourself, then you will never ever disrespect a black woman, because you know for a fact that that black woman comes from a black man that you love as your brother. See, if we start loving each other, black women automatically become protected. Black girls automatically become protected. Because when I'm not around, but I got brothers around that love me the way that they love themselves, my daughter and my sisters, my wife, they got protectors. They're not trying to sleep with them. See, order is having order amongst men. Understanding what your role is to each other as men. Because when we understand what our role to each other as men for mentorship, the whole community begins to shape up and shape the right way. I'm done. Leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Everybody that watched this video, hit that like button, man, so I can beat this shadow bear. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.